Hey guys, it's your girl Boonie, and you're listening to episode 142 of the Boonie Breakdown podcast, your source for all things responsible and ratchet. All right, guys, welcome to this week's episode. I am excited for our guest. You guys know I love to have local people, Baltimore people on my pod when I can. And this week's guest is Alanah Nichole. She's a whole lot of things, but she's a whole lot of fucking fun. And she's a content creator, a marketing consultant, events consultant, an arts enthusiast. She's a producer. She's so many things, okay? You guys are going to love this episode. We talk, it is a truly a responsible and ratchet episode. We talk about some of the movement and activism work that Alanah was doing for the Baltimore community and, outside of Baltimore. And then we switch gears a little bit, get into the ratchet talk. We talk about sex, being fat girls, dating app. Look, it's a good one. I'm telling you. So stick around for that conversation, okay? All right, let's hop into my pick of the week. All right, pick of the week. I mean, no surprise to anyone. This week, the pick of the week is Juneteenth. Black people, y'all showed out. I feel like Juneteenth was one of the best one of the best days of 2020 to date. It's been so much happening, and so it was so great to see true Black joy on Juneteenth. People were out. I saw a lot of kickbacks. I saw protests. I saw marches. I saw movements, artistic groups collecting and doing dancing and spoken word. I saw a few virtual kickbacks happening. And you guys know I partnered with the sneaker exhibit for doing the Juneteenth Jubilee, which was a Black-owned business. I'm trying to get away from saying just automatically quantifying Black businesses as small because words have power, and hopefully they will not. We will grow past that word, a small business. But yes, I want to thank all of you guys for showing up and showing out for Black-owned businesses based in Baltimore, both brick and mortar and online. It was dope to see places sell out before, we encouraged everyone to go from 12 to 4. Some places had to close at 1:30 because they had no more product to sell. You guys killed that shit. And for me, looking forward to next year. But my hope is, and you guys know I am a true proponent of trying to find a Black business to support first before you look for an alternative. That has been a big push here at the Boonie Breakdown. And so just don't think of Juneteenth as the one day that you have to support a Black business. Please try to make this something. This is a practice, okay? It's not just a one-off. This is your true practice that you will try to find, seek out, and support Black-owned businesses. So you guys killed that shit. Juneteenth was lit, and I hope that you guys were able to experience it in some way. Oh, and before I move on, I also did a morning sunrise event down on the pier down in Fells Point in Baltimore, which was down on the water where our ancestors got off the boat here in Baltimore. And so it was nice to honor our ancestors in that way. I learned some new African religion traditions and rituals that I'm not familiar with. And so, yeah, it's always great to learn and to be a part of things that you might not normally do. But it was a very moving experience, and I can't wait for that to be bigger and better next year as well. So it was dope to see so many people celebrating Juneteenth in ways that we had not seen before. So let's keep that shit up for next year. All right, housekeeping. Feedback from last week's episode with Sheikah, hairy booty holes are childish. I am happy to report that I have finally had my wax, so I feel renewed and rejuvenated and restored all is well here in the world. I know Sheikah had her appointment coming up soon, but so many of you guys had reached out and say you too were still in the struggles and waiting for your waxes, your appointments to get freshened up in that area. And so many of you had already said you'd already done it. So kudos to everyone for freeing and getting rid of the hairy booty holes. That was a light episode. We needed that episode just to laugh, okay? And you guys know there are only 3 episodes left in season 7. That's right. We only have 3 more. The last new episode will air on Monday, July 13th. I'm telling you, it's some really good interviews coming up for these last few episodes. So get excited and mark your calendars. Also, you know, we've been trying to get 100 reviews before the end of this season. We are at 94, guys. So if you listen to this podcast on any Apple device, that means on an iPad, iPod, iPhone, MacBook, then or your iWatch, because I've been noticing people who've been listening to the podcast on their watch. Now, I don't know if you can leave a review using your watch, but all of those other devices, you can open the Purple Podcast app, search for the Boonie Breakdown, select it, scroll down where it has those blank 5 stars. If they're blank on your phone, go ahead and hit those 5 stars. That's all you have to do. But if you want to go an extra step for extra credit, then you can hit write a review, type some lovely words in, and leave Boonie a 5-star review. So we have, including this episode, 4 more episodes to get 6 more 5-star reviews. I think my Ratcheteer gang can do it. And if you've already done a 5-star review, thank you so much. And if this is your first time listening, or you started a few episodes ago and you still haven't followed us on social media, I encourage you all to do that, all right? You can find us on Facebook and Instagram at The Boonie Breakdown. On Twitter, we're just at Boonie Breakdown, okay? So be sure to follow us there. And when you're listening to this episode, share it in your Insta story, retweet it, post it on Facebook, text it to a friend, whatever you want to do. But thank you guys for helping me grow, and get the podcast out here, all right? And when you do that, you can tag us. I'll respond if your page is open. And you can use the hashtag The Boonie Breakdown and the hashtag PODIN, PODIN. That helps other people find the podcast as well. So, all right, guys, that is it for me. So let's get ready to break it down. All right, guys, it's your girl Boonie, and I'm excited because I always love having local people come on the podcast. It's fun to talk to people who live far away, but when it's somebody she's not from Baltimore, but she lives here, so we claim her. So, so we're gonna welcome Alanah to the podcast. Hey, girl.
Hi, Boonie. How are you? I am not from Baltimore, but I do live here.
You're from New York, right?
Yes, I'm from the Bronx.
Okay. My best friend from college is from the Bronx, so.
Oh, bet. Shout out to her. BX, stand up.
I remember my freshman year in college, I feel like all of my friends were from New York. Mm-hmm. And that was my first time being around New Yorkers like that intensely. It was a different experience. And especially the BKBX thing. I learned a lot there.
Whole thing, different boroughs.
Yeah, I was like, okay, I got y'all. Y'all don't fuck with each other. All right,
it's
got
like
it.
East-West. It's like East-West over here.
Pretty much, because I really don't do the East Side. Like, and I laugh because I never realized this. I have traveled all around the world, thousands of miles away from home. But my entire life, outside of the years of college, I have lived in pretty much the same 5-mile radius my entire life.
And that's pretty common for, I think, a lot of Baltimoreans. And like, I was talking to my child's father, happy belated Father's Day to all the fathers. And he was telling me this morning, like, he was like, I don't do no West Side. Cause I was like, you want to go to the park with the girls? And he was like, I'm not going to Druid. I was like, whatever.
Yeah. Cause it's such a weird culture thing. Because I know New Yorkers do it, but when I lived in Philly, I really didn't see it in Philly much. Like, it wasn't like, oh, I'm from North Philly, I'm not fucking with West Philly. Like, I didn't see that. But yeah, I'm a West Baltimore born and raised, and I do not fuck with East Baltimore.
West side.
So, but when I said that out loud, I was like, oh my God, I've lived in the same 5 mile radius my entire life. It's wild.
Wow.
It is wild. All right, I think we're going to go responsible first, but then I want to go ratchet because that's our thing here. So,
Okay.
first, responsible. I saw that and I thought this was so dope that you were organizing like COVID relief funds for artists and local people in this area. So dope.
I definitely did that. I can confirm I raised over $5,000.
That's
And
like a lot of money.
it's a lot, and it's probably more than that. Now I need to like recalculate, but since I closed my fund, well, I'll start from the beginning. Like on
Okay.
March 13th, I woke up and I was like, yo, everything is canceled. Like school is canceled, events are canceled. I'm a marketing consultant, I'm a artist, a performance artist, all these other things, and so are many of my friends. And I have a network that extends not only from Baltimore, but like New York, New Jersey, Arizona. I mean, I know people all over the place, and everywhere everything was canceled. So I was like, everyone's losing money. You know what I mean? Like, and somebody has to respond. And, I know because I've been in arts and culture for such a long time that those response rates were not going to be timely. You know what I mean? And really, I was giving out micro grants of like anywhere from like $25 to like $100, if not a little bit more sometimes. So it wasn't, to cover anyone's like complete expenses, but people just needed to know that someone cared, in that time and in this time, because we're still in it.
We're still in it. And I thought about that too, because I do have a lot of friends who are, dancers and visual artists where, their money was completely shut off. And so I'm looking too. At first, we thought it was going to be this like controlled, contained thing. Like, okay, by June, we'll be back to normal. And, they're trying to push it because they worried about that money, even though the shit is not contained.
It is not.
It is not at all. And I'm looking like I just saw like the Kennedy Center and Carnegie Hall just canceled everything for the rest of the year.
And rightfully so.
Yeah, like I get it. And so it's like, oh, how does this shit bounce back? Like, and then you have like the gig economy was spiking because I know a lot of my friends who were artists were like, all right, well, I guess I'm going to do Instacart right now because I'm not performing anywhere.
Yeah, I mean it's crazy because it's like artistry is a part of gig economy. So like one big part of it really crashed, and then this other part of it related to like food and delivery services really surged. But also it's like it's not what artists should be doing. Like artists shouldn't have to sacrifice. They shouldn't have to like take some hit to their morals and values and do something outside of what they are meant to do.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. So.
And I feel like, and then you have the other part of what's happening now, with all of the Black Lives Matter and, defund the police movement. And you see, I was just talking to a friend, like you see how artists are playing a role in that movement as well. And I've kind of recently just in the Baltimore area supported a few local artists who were doing, the same thing like you were doing, like the fundraising, but also trying to do these small events within CDC guidelines where they can still, show their art to the world and push the message that, Black people matter. And so I feel like it's been amazing watching people pivot, watching the creativity what people are coming up with to say, I'm still gonna get my message out here and do what I love and make some coin too.
Okay, and it's a testament to how beautiful of a creative industry we have here in Baltimore, and everyone is resilient. And I sometimes resent that word, resilience, especially as it pertains to like the Black community. And like we shouldn't have to be resilient in the face of like adversity, and we should just be able to live our everyday lives without worrying about being hurt or harmed or killed or abused. Especially as a Black woman, a lot of those thoughts have been at the forefront of my mind. It's sick, it's sick what's happening to us. I think all the movements are beautiful. I have my comments about allyship, and I'll hold on.
Well, you know what? Let's go there because I feel I did not plan to go there. You will get ratchet, I promise, in a few minutes. But I'm struggling with allyship myself. And I think my first encounter with the word ally was back in middle school. and I went to a predominantly white upper class private school here. And this was right after Ellen DeGeneres came out.
Okay.
And they our it's such so ingrained in me, and I hate it. But we
Yeah.
called it a headmistress. Oh, I hate it. But
Oh,
the head of school then, she made this statement like standing up for the LGBT community, and we're all children of God, et cetera, et cetera.
okay.
And it became this like big scandal, right?
Right.
And the teachers started putting pink triangles, not all the teachers, but the teachers who were willing to be an ally for students who might have been LGBT. So that was my first
Okay.
introduction to that word at like 13. Like, okay, an ally.
Right.
I never heard of that. Got it. And
It's
now
just
we fast forward to everything that's going on now. And I am really struggling with this concept of white people needing to be allies. I really, in my heart of hearts, I don't think they deserve that term.
yeah.
I don't see any white person honestly, truly being a true ally.
Mhm.
I think they can be less pieces of shit. Like I'm not going to be racist,
Say that.
and I'll stand up and correct people, but I truly don't ever see majority of white people ever putting anything on the line fully for a Black person to succeed.
Yeah. I mean, to me true allyship exceeds a lot of what is being done currently. Like I'm a movement builder, you know what I mean. I know what it is to come from a marginalized community, as it were, as they're saying these communities are. And I know what it is to come from like a project and to like be Black and be woman and like be at all these intersections that they are just not. And by definition, allyship is like a continuous process. This is something that is never going to have an ed on it, but it always an ing. It's always going to be,
Come on now.
I'm learning, not I've learned. And this tone of arrival, this tone of privilege that they're taking on in their posts, and I'm just like, okay.
Yeah, it truly is a struggle for me. And it's like, on one side, I get it. Great. You're finally educating yourself or taking off the blinders, because I think the other part I'm struggling with is like,
Yeah.
why was it this incident that happened that made everyone wake up? And I'm doing air quotes, like,
Yeah. Yeah.
because this has happened a gazillion times before. So
Literally.
why was it this one? And part of me is like, because everyone was bored in the house, COVID.
Yes.
Like, is that literally the only reason why people care
Yes.
right now?
I mean, I have my theories about it, and I think COVID is one of is a part of that. Yeah.
Yeah, I totally think it is. And so it's people that I've interacted with, professionally, personal life, growing up with them at that private school. And I can pinpoint so many ways that you were problematic, even after I was left that school with you and I saw the things you posted on social. But now all of a sudden you want to medal because you posted Black Lives Matter. Like, I do not give a fuck. Like, I'm not impressed.
Yeah.
And
I'm
I
not
really I'm struggling with that word, and it is a battle. So I've been very quiet on it. I have taken the stance on my page, like, my audience is primarily Black women.
Yeah.
So I don't have to educate and post and do all those things because we live that shit.
Yep. And I think that's important to like affirm that you don't have to, as a Black person, as a Black woman, do extra work at a junction of like, okay, well, I need you guys to understand and empathize with us. Like, that's not, you know what I mean? Like, I
Yeah,
get it. I get why these companies are doing it. You know what
I
I mean?
get it
Like,
too.
I get it. It's sales, it's money. We live in a capitalistic society. That's why we're opening, these states back up. That's why,
Mm-hmm.
it has nothing to do with public health, safety, or concern, and everything to do with the dollar.
It's all about this coin. And
Yeah.
so it's just, it's, this is just a very weird year. 2020 is kicking ass. And I just think, mentally, and I talked about this a few episodes ago about protecting your peace, because it is so much happening. Like, I
Yeah.
have to worry about going to the grocery store. Am I going to encounter someone to get COVID and I'm going to pass it to my elderly grandfather because I'm his caregiver? But then is someone going to a Karen going to walk up to me in the grocery store and pull some bullshit on me? And then like,
Yeah.
it's just like, I don't want to worry about all this. It is so much happening. And
It's hella tense. It's
it
hella
is very, and
tense.
it doesn't even feel like summer yet because it's like,
Yeah. I've had to take my liberties and like go out and enjoy like the beginnings of my what would be a perfect summer if not, for COVID and like this civil unrest. I have a lot of friends who are like organizers, so like I'm going out, sometimes to these rallies, sometimes I'm in my car, and like other times I'm like out there or I'm speaking, because I have a platform. And like you said,
yeah.
you have a platform that's predominantly for Black women. My platform is all types of people. You know what I mean? Like they're white, they're Black. So like I have to, in a way, and feel the need to like say, well, hey, if you're white and you're my friend, I'm glad you're doing some shit, but like also don't be performative about it.
But I appreciate your post because I feel like um, you do it in a way where it's like, look, let's not make any mistakes of who I am. One.
Yeah.
And then you also do the part where it's like, okay, great, you did a post, but what else are you going to do?
Yeah.
And so I feel like you've done a very good job. And I know I had gotten a question, someone asking me like, why wasn't I doing more? And I'm like, I don't have to. Like,
Yeah.
I don't have to do more. And the
Oh.
things that I do push, like I've always done, like I've always talked about Black businesses. I've always talked about banking Black. That shit I've been doing years ago. So it's
Yeah.
not a pivot for me now because it's the trend or it's hot and this is what everyone is talking about. Aunt Jemima don't want to be Aunt Jemima no more. Like I don't
And
need to
look,
do that pivot because
honestly, I want them to keep Aunt Jemima on the bottle. Honestly, I'm tired of the erasure that happens, to like, okay, yes, she's a mammy archetype.
mm-hmm.
Aunt Jemima is a mammy archetype. She's supposed to be this caring, loving Black woman who nurtures you and nuzzles your white babies into her bosom. And that is, it's problematic. It's problematic, but also it's informative. It's educational. It's a moment. Like we need to take a beat and say, like, you know what? She was on this bottle for a long time. And she's had different iterations. Like she used to have like a rag on her head, like
Yeah,
a
she
red
did. And
rag.
now she looks like a little corporate businesswoman.
I mean, just because, and I saw this also like in the movement building, and I know we have some ratchet shit to get back to, but I saw a lot of this in the movement building where they were like, depending on like what you wear, that kind of matters, or how you speak. And as an articulate Black woman, someone who sounds,
mm-hmm.
like I sound, and it's not sounding white to counter everyone in elementary school. Fuck you guys
Right.
for that. I'm just articulate. I'm an articulate Black woman. And I think, when I see these movements, I saw like a protest picture and it was like, all these Black men are in suits. We're changing the narrative. Honey, they don't care what you're wearing.
They
They
do.
don't
They
care.
shot Martin Luther King. He wore suit shit.
Malcolm X wore a suit. My daddy, like everybody wore a suit. I could wear a suit if I wanted to, but it doesn't change the fact that like if I go to the grocery store, I'm still disproportionately going to catch COVID because I'm Black and I have underlying conditions in my family. It still doesn't change the fact that I present as Black and someone is going to be threatened by me because of the color of my skin. So like, let's not,
Listen,
let's not fade it.
but come on. And it's I had kind of went on my personal Instagram and did a rant about it. And I'm just like, it's like almost like a racism baptism happening right now where it's like it's like a 3-week window where you admit your sins and you can change the logo, we'll change the company name. I'm
Yes.
not going to be Lady Antebellum anymore. We're going to be Lady A, but not
I
know it's
saw
already
that.
a Black singer that's Lady A. Like, so it's like all these things are happening and we'll forgive and forget.
Yeah.
Right. Like, and
No.
it's like, it's just so
You
gross watching everything happening. And it really just weirds me out. Cause
don't like it.
it's just, I'm just like, what is happening? The
Yeah.
whole, Juneteenth was lit as fuck this year and I loved it.
Right.
And next year it's going to be on a Saturday and hopefully we will be back to having a real summer next year. But it's just like, even these companies, like I had so many emails in my inbox, like celebrate Juneteenth. And I'm like, I have never
Yeah.
gotten this from you. My friend's like, he went to the Nike store and it was closed because it was Juneteenth.
Oh, okay, Nike.
So I'm like, I guess.
But I mean, the whole like executive team of Nike is white. You know what I mean? Like when we get up into the ethers of those companies and like who's really at the helm, it's white people.
It's all
And
white.
It's all white people. And, unless we're hiring Black, I really think what, what Yo did, Serena's husband, I don't know his name, but we're going to call him Serena's husband,
Yeah, I don't
him
know.
stepping down, that made sense to me. Step down, get out the way. Because a lot of y'all are just taking up space. If you've made it 18 minutes into Boonie's show and you are white, you are taking up space. And I need you to move out of our way.
Look, I don't know if any white people listen. I do have like a few white people who follow me on Instagram, but I don't know how many listen, but
Okay.
and I was very and it's so funny because when I pitch sponsors sometimes I am like, the page I have on my demographic, it is very clear who my audience is. Like, don't come here confused about this is
I'm
who they
Black,
are.
y'all.
Yeah, it's Black women are up in here. We get thank you to our brothers who be here. We about to talk about y'all in a second, but it's mostly Black women up in here. So I'm gonna switch up ratchet now because I actually had not planned on us talking about any of that, but it was great.
I'm glad it did.
COVID has been a motherfucker.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I didn't make it long into quarantining before I started bringing in dick, because it was stress. I was not going to make it.
Hey, yo.
Like that meme that was going around where it was like, ma'am, dick is not essential. No, it is. It really, it was for me. And so I knew what self-care practice I needed to keep my sanity. And have you been doing any COVID appointments?
I early on, I was very much self-quarantining, and I was just fearful. I was shaking in my boots, and I had kind of cut off some of the guys that I was talking to, because I was like, yo. And also I noticed there was just like this lack of creativity in them, like showing up.
Let's talk about this lack of creativity.
Yeah, like, usually, guys like to take you out. They know how to court you, or like whatever courtship is nowadays. Usually it's just kind of like them asking, can they suck on your pussy? I don't know. Like, like whatever it's showing up as these days. But, I was kind of seeing that, because they couldn't take me out, that I wasn't seeing or hearing from them as much. So I was like, well, fuck you. You know what I mean? Like, I don't really want to talk to you. But I did not make it that long into quarantine, similarly to you, before I started to allow people of the opposite and same gender coming to my home in order to help me, because I was stressed.
Yeah, I mean, the stress was too much. And it's like you said, being Black, you're already at the high risk group. I can't be having my stress level. And it's funny because with everything happening, I could feel the stress sitting in parts of my body. Like, oh, my shoulder. Like, my shoulders don't never hurt. Why are my shoulders hurting now?
Yes, my back.
Hips. Yeah, my back.
back.
Like, the tension was sitting in spots. And I was like, nope, we're not about to sit up here and die in this house. Nope. We will go ahead and
Yep. I was doing a lot of sneaky links, as one of my friends has been calling it. I did quite a lot of that, and there was a point though where I tried not to, because I was like after a while I was just seeing like one person, and I was just like, I think we should like self-quarantine like for a little bit, just to be safe. And we tried, we were texting each other. I was like, I miss you too. And it was like this back and forth. And then like finally he came over and he was like, yeah, you said you missed me. And I was like, yes.
And that's the funny thing too, because I definitely ended up with one person in particular. And I was like, and they were getting tested regularly for COVID because of the essential nature of their job. I was like, oh, okay. Well, the risk is very low here. So we'll stick with you.
Yeah.
I did stick. And the point you were saying about the lack of creativity, I did get bored in quarantine. And I feel like a lot of people got bored. So I was like, oh, let me re-download this stupid Bumble app.
Oh.
I'm not a fan of these online dating things. I just don't go well. And that's what I noticed in a lot of these apps. Like, because there was nowhere to go, the conversation was worse than it was before.
Yikes.
Like, they couldn't, because I felt like immediately it would be like, oh, I want to see you. Like, we said two things to each other, and then the next thing was like, I want to see you. I don't even know your name. Like, who are you? Yeah, and I feel like with COVID, it got worse. Like, it was no creativity. Like, oh, what you watch on TV? I'm like,
Ugh,
delete that.
I hate it. I don't do too much like I don't do too much app stuff. Like I probably met like one guy on Tinder maybe 4 or 5 years ago. And I mean, he laid it down. He lived in his grandmother's house with like 7 other people.
Those are the
But
people who be fucking the best.
okay, listen, the bathroom tiles was getting it. Like we was getting it, and it was immaculate. But since then, I have not like super ventured into like dating apps. I'll download it to like spite somebody, but like not
That's
to
hilarious.
not to do it for my own pleasure.
Yeah, no, I've recently picked up some really good meat on a dating app. But
Mm,
like you too, like it's 1 out of 60. So is it worth the time of swiping? I mean,
honestly, I
I just feel
mean,
like the return on the investment is not worth it. So
it's
I
not.
don't last very long.
I throw the dice a lot with in-person engagement. You know what I'm saying? Like I meet a lot of people, in person because of the nature of my work. And so I meet a lot of very handsome, very talented, very cultured men.
Oh, I need to come hang
Talking
out with
about,
you.
oh yeah, please, like, come on, we can rock out.
Yeah, I need
Um,
to come hang out with you.
I'm talking about lush wallpapers, nice lofts, beautiful hair, beautiful manicured nails. Some of them a little rougher, because I do love that as well. I love a hood nigga. I really do. I'm just like,
Oh, yeah.
man, I mean, what a classic. What a throwback.
That
Ugh,
is that is I have not it's so fun. I'm gonna bring this up because I was in somebody's Insta story and they were saying like, do you feel like black women give dark skinned men more grace than they give light skinned men? And they were like, we
mm,
rarely talk about women and their colorism. And I had to think about my own escapades. And I feel like that might be truth there for
there,
me
there might
because
be.
if they're dark, and I'm a fat girl. I've done a dark skinned guy who was 130 pounds. I've done like a dark guy who was ugly. But every light skinned man I've ever been with is fine as fuck.
Yeah,
Like that is my qualifier. To be light, you have to be
you
fine.
have to
Like,
be.
but I
I
mean, they're
I've had
fine.
I've run the gamut. I can't lie to you, Boonie. I've
Yeah,
messed with dark skin guys. The one thing, Boonie, and we're both fat girls. You know what I'm saying? So like, the one thing I really can't do and really try not to do is fat guys.
oh,
Like
I've never fucked a fat guy
I've
ever.
almost never like I've fucked two fat guys, and like both of them, I really can't give you a good review about it. Like I just couldn't give them 5 stars, 3 at the most.
Yeah,
It's
I'm
just
like, I commend you for even trying. I've never fucked a fat guy because I just felt like, and it's not even that they aren't attractive, but I'm just like, I don't want to do all that maneuver. It's too much to think
it's just
about.
a lot. It's a lot to think about, and
Yeah,
I mean, no.
yeah. I've never done it, but when I saw the girls posting her Insta story, I was like, oh, maybe she's. But yeah, when I started listing, I'm like,
Yeah,
every single light skinned guy I've ever been with, if I showed everybody pictures, they'd be like, damn, like they're fine
yeah.
as men. And
I
the
had
dark skinned ones,
one.
it's a few. But then it's a
No,
few where I wouldn't tell nobody I mess with them either.
I mean, there's probably a couple people who I would never tell people I've messed with, just in general. But like light skinned guys, I did mess with like one uglier light skinned guy, and he just had like a lot of snaggly teeth, and he wore glasses with like the lenses punched out. And this was like 4 years ago, maybe 6. I
It's
don't
an
know.
interesting aesthetic.
It was an interesting aesthetic that he had. I met him at an open mic. He was so enamored by me, my voice, and my words, and I just had to give him the opportunity. Um,
So since you just said this, like since we're both fat girls, have you ever really like been with a guy who's like fetishized your fat? Like
have I ever really been? I don't think so. Like
I haven't either, but I've had people who like shared that experience with me. Like they've said that happened to them, but it's never happened to me.
it's never blatantly happened to me where the person was just like, yeah, I just want to like scrub on your roll. Like, you know what I mean? Like, don't be weird about it. Usually it's like a loving thing. It's regular to me.
Yeah, me too. I don't think I've ever had experience. Because then I also know someone who said that they like went out with somebody and they told them like they were too small. I was like, I've never had that happen either.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's an interesting take. I mean, I see these shows like the 600-pound TLC. Like, I don't have regular television in my house, but like when I do decide to like get on the apps and things like that, and like I'm in the mood to watch like, Hoarders or something like that. I see like these shows where like these women are big and like their men are trying to like feed them, and it's like on
Yeah,
some.
I've had the little remark, and I'm sure you have too. Like, oh, when I'm like on a little weight loss kick or something, like, oh, I need to get right. They'll be like, don't lose too much weight now. I get that.
I think I've had that before too, and I actually like at one point in my life had lost over 100 pounds,
Oh
and then like
wow.
it was fun. Like it was nice being small, but also like I like both of them. I like both of me. Both of them is good. Like you know what I'm saying. Like I kind of slide up and down every other year, every couple of years, and it's like it's cool. But men specifically did miss my fat. They did.
Yeah, and you said something else that I feel like is a commonality. I get a lot of people who are like, especially men, like, oh my god, your voice is sexy, and I'm like,
I
okay.
all the time. Like I've had people, I'm like, Boonie's already doing it. I've had people tell me to start a podcast. I've had people to like, they like do a radio show. I just want to hear your voice. Like,
Look, sis, maybe we need to start an OnlyFans where it's just audio.
I mean, what's up? Like, sis, I'm with it. Like,
we just read erotic stories or some shit.
we could just read the back of like oatmeal boxes. Like, we could just.
And, recently I called my tribe the Ratcheteers, and
Okay.
recently a Ratcheteer sent me a message, and I kind of got like, I'm like, I don't know if I really like her, nigga, but I ain't want to say that. And she's probably listening now and she knows. But girl, I'll put a question mark over him. But he has sent a message, not like he must have told her, like, yo, Booney's, I guess she had him listening to the podcast. And he was like, yo, Booney's voice sexy as fuck.
Oh, no.
Yeah, don't no.
No.
And no.
I've had something like that happen to me recently where like I had my best friend Ebony is very sex positive, very beautiful, curvaceous woman. She's like just beautiful. She's a sex worker. She's just awesome to me. And one of my guys like that I'm messing with messaged me and was like, Ebony need to stop playing. And I was like, what? Like blatantly, what? Mind you, I am open. Like I'm open to poly shit. I'm open to all that. And he knows that, and so is he. And so is my best friend. But I was like, no.
No.
We've never gone there. Why are we going there right now? But she does need to put a question mark over it.
Yeah, I'm just like, put a little question mark there. I'm not sure because you don't know the inner workings of everybody's everything, but that just gave me a little pause that he felt comfortable enough to say that to her. So yeah, you had posted on your Instagram, and I had screenshotted this. That perfect segue. Perfect. Don't let all that's happening push you into the arms of a fuckboy. It's not the time for them or their shit. It's time for revolution, and y'all just want to be chose.
I'm sorry to anyone that may have offended, but I'm not sorry, really. I'm not. I think, like don't let everything, like it's stressful, yes. Both you and I, Boonie, we just admitted that, we welcome the company of our male suitors into our homes in order to stress, decompress. But like, yeah, don't let these fuckboys get you. It's a lot of trickery going on out here. Like you said, it's a lot of messages float in and out of my DMs and inbox, and it's like, peace queen, I wish we could connect, or what's up, yo, I ain't hear from you in a little while, like what's, and I'm like, no.
I've gotten a few hey strangers. Hey strangers.
And I've sent a few hey strangers. I ain't gonna lie.
I got caught up with one in particular because I was like, ooh, that was that was worth. That might be worth a circle back.
Let me just something I didn't do. I would really like to.
Let me test the waters there. I do hate that too, because I feel like we've talked about this in past episodes, but I feel like just as you grow and evolve as a person, like things that you try sexually and want to explore sexually, you grow there too. And I feel like some things that I've been doing recently, I've been having those thoughts like, fuck, I would love to try this with so-and-so because our chemistry was so good. And it's like, we never did this. Now I wish I want to circle back. And I was telling Like the universe is so funny because, you know, the power of the tongue. I was proclaiming to my friend, like my intimate friend circle, and I don't even know if I shared this on the podcast.
Yeah.
But at the end of the year, I was saying like I wanted to do a world tour of past good dick. And I
Mm.
wanted to like go back to my
Yes.
like top four
I
and
can I
and do it
can dig that.
again.
I like that. I like that idea.
Look, soon as I put it out in the universe was like, and here come rolling somebody, and the shit is good
Yeah.
as fuck. Like, so I kind of forgot about the world tour. Like,
Okay.
the universe is like, we got you, sis. Like, calm down.
Relax.
Because a few of them might have been a little.
That might have been crazy, right?
Yeah, I wish I could see the face I'm making. Yeah, like you shouldn't, but I want to.
I want to. Yeah, I would have been down for a world tour at the top of the year with, you know, some past greatest hits. You know what I'm saying? Like, there was definitely some good hits, you know, back in the day. But like also, no, I did do a little circle back, you know, when COVID started. You know, I had like a really good male best friend who may or may not listen to this because he listens to everything I do. But I am very much in love with his ass, right? And I always have been. I just think he's a beautiful man. And, you know, I wanted to try to like make something work with him, you know, but he sees me as a friend or whatever. But we did our good little amount of cuddling and kissing and shit,
Okay,
you know,
cuddles.
during COVID. And that it was nice to circle back. You know, it was a good circle back. And a few years ago, we just weren't at a spot where we were mature enough to like do that in a way that made sense. Yeah.
You know, timing really is everything.
Mm-hmm.
It really is. And it sucks, especially because when you start thinking about the circle back, it's like it was a reason you ended or it didn't work. But it's like, fuck, if we had tried that now, or like the time is right now, but I already had my chance with you. It kind of sucks.
It does kind of suck. I did actually look at like some messages of ours, my male friend and I was like, yo, I scrolled back and I was like, this is why this didn't work. I remembered. And then it happened again this time. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna let this ride. We're still very good friends.
It's true. And I think you're harping on something too. And I think you know, you did post this on your Instagram.
Yeah.
You posted something that was like, dating not stressful when you deal with niggas who like you.
Listen, it's not. I've dated a lot of guys who hate my ass. And hateful sex is good. But is it like really good for your heart? You know what I'm saying? Like, is it really good for your mind? Is it
like,
really
how did
good?
you know that they hated you? Like, so you're saying like they like what did you say? Like, oh, this nigga just really don't fuck with me.
Yo, like I've messed with guys who like get real ghosty. You know, I'm talking like I'm gone for 3-4 days, I come back and I still just want you to treat me like you did 4 days.
I've been there.
Here. Like, I'm talking, you know, just I don't like my mama. You know what I mean?
Been there.
That's hateful. That you know, I don't really have a good relationship with my baby mama shit. You know, or like I run into this a lot just because like I consider myself, and I try not to like boast or brag, I consider myself a successful Black woman. You know what I mean? Like I think I do the damn thing. And a lot of men will chase after me, you know, in the hopes of like getting or sucking off some ambition off of me. And that's not really how that works. And then like they get upset with that, or they want things for themselves that they're too scared to jump out and do. And so they get caught up in my success, and then they get resentful because then they're like, yo, you're this person that I've had an ex tell me like, everybody loves you. And I hate that about you.
Wow.
Like, and it was like, he couldn't just have me to himself. And so I went on this whole parade, like maybe a few years ago, if you scroll back maybe 2-3 years ago, about love without ownership, because he wanted to like own me, for lack of a better word. He wanted to love me, and he didn't want anybody else to love me. And that's, yo,
that is,
yeah.
That's a lot.
It's a lot.
That is a lot. Like, you can't bottle up my joy and block me from blessings just because you want to have me. That's some selfish ass shit.
It is. And I've definitely been in relationships since and before that where the person wasn't bold enough to say it. And shout out to Aries for being very bold.
Come on, fire signs.
You know, he was bold enough to say it, but I've dealt with men who I feel have that same sentiment or share that same sentiment of just being jealous or resentful or feeling like they couldn't have their shine and I had all this shine, and so they wanted it's just a lot. And it's like nobody should have to deal with that. You should be able to be with somebody, and you guys should be each other's cheerleaders. You should be able to rise up together. And even if you don't want to be a public figure per se,
Mm-hmm.
like you can be great in your own right. And like I love that. And but I've hid some accomplishments like from people that I've
Oh
dated,
wow, that's
or
yeah.
just not posted it because it's like, damn.
And I struggle with that sometimes too, because I feel like I have found a really good balance of sharing a lot with my audience, but being able to still keep some things private into myself.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like even, doing live shows, and I started going to other cities last year. Damn the Rona for canceling the
Damn
shows
it.
this year. But I felt like that too. I've encountered that with guys where I don't like to share my podcast and all that stuff immediately,
Mm-hmm.
because one, I don't want them going and listening and watching and trying to figure out who I am by that stuff. And then two, I think because of the topics that I talk about, sometimes it plays that intimidation role, or
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, that sucks. But it's nothing worse than not being able to like celebrate yourself with the person you're with.
It's really nothing worse. Like I've felt like shit, like in those relationships or those connections with people where I wasn't able to like fully express who I was,
Mm-hmm.
and who I was like becoming, more importantly. And like it's sad. It's sad. And it's like I wanted to so bad. And even when people can't celebrate you, like
Yeah.
your partner should be able to lift you up. You should be able to like, I've been in many, 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 many connections and relationships just as a plus size woman, as a darker skinned woman, where I was being hidden. Like I was just not being posted. Like I've immediately like them dating someone immediately after me and being able to post them or celebrate
Mm.
them, and they're fairer skinned or smaller. And like we don't talk about that type of shit. And like especially in the Black community, like when you grow up, growing up, I was always the friend who was like in the corner or like downstairs with the third ugly friend. And it was like, what the fuck? Like I was getting the short end of the stick, but also like I was living my own life. But when I was with with my group of friends, and one of my best friends was like smaller, very light skinned, always longer hair, always just kind of fit the bill. And like I've always been this like alternative like for men. And
Mm.
I think that's how I perceive it. And like, but also like, no, like I'm not an alternative, like, you know what I mean? Like I had to kind of come to grips with that. Like, yo, I'm very beautiful, I'm super smart, I'm very talented, I'm very good at sex, like I'm very good at I'm a
Come on,
Scorpio.
talk your
Like
shit.
I mean, like it's just it's an intense combination. And I feel like any nigga would be so lucky to, even have a day, a month, an hour, a minute, a second of my
Come,
time.
come on
So
now. I like that, and I think that's another thing too, where you know, as being a sex positive platform, and I try to bring on guests who encourage women, especially Black women, to find
mhm,
their sexual prowess. And
mhm.
you can always brushing up on technique and shit. Like you might not know it all, be something else to
Okay.
try. Like talk your shit. Like I know, like you just said, I know I'm good at sex.
I know I
I'm
am.
gonna suck the shit out your dick.
Yes.
I'm gonna drain your balls. Like I know that, right? And so I have, like, it took me a while, not a while, but like in my 20s, like I'll go back and look like my earlier 20s.
Yeah.
I did not speak up, right? Like I was the person, all right, let me just fake the orgasm so you get off of me, leave me alone, and then I gotta go
Uh,
home and like finish myself off.
yeah.
And then somewhere in that mid 20s, that shit fucking changed. Like I can't stop. I cannot be with these people.
Yeah.
Like I know I'm good at this shit. And
I've
so
been
you,
trying to, yeah.
yeah, and
Yeah.
I feel like I want more women to just own that and say that. And
Hmm.
it's a way, and I've had episodes about this where I've asked sexologists and sexperts, like, how can women,
Yeah.
whether they're with women or men or whoever, how can they speak up and advocate for themselves in the bedroom?
Yeah. I'm very vocal, you know what I mean? And very seldom, like, unless it's like on some one night, like, I just actually, how you go through these bouts of like one night stands, or like you're just kind of dating and it's not really people that you're actually going to be with.
With you.
Um, it was like I went through this bout of that, I think summer 2019, and there was just a couple
Good
of
whole
people that
summer.
were it was a good summer until I got pregnant. But I got, I had this good little roster, and I didn't have that baby. But it was a good roster of people, and I just really enjoyed having sex with them. But also, like, it's harder to give notes to people who you aren't actually going to be with, to me. Like, yo, like, just a little bit more to the left,
No,
Mr.
I will be
Stranger.
quick. It's one of my exes. He was actually an ex-boyfriend, but it's like one of our inside jokes was he'll always be like, "Remember that time you were like?"
Yeah.
He was like, "You kept saying like you would be like 3 more pumps," because I'm like I could tell he was about to finish, and I'm like, "Wait a minute, I'm like 3 more, like 3 more," and he was like, "Yo, that shit is still so funny to me," because he was like,
Mhm.
he said the way you said it, where it's like he's like, in my mind at the time, I'm like, fuck, I'm about to bust. And she talking about 3 more. But he said you said it so cool and it was so dope. It was so sexy. It was in a way. He's like, it really invigorated me to try. But he's like, I knew once I stroked one more time, that was it.
That was it. And you got to know yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like, I also just this, like, guys, if you're out there, or women, if you could encourage guys, like, I think don't gas me up. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't tell me you about to perform like you an Olympian, and I have fucked an Olympian, and then you don't. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't gas me up if you're not gonna last long. If you know the dick is not long like that, just don't gas me up. Don't gas me up.
I fuck with that.
Yeah.
All right. So we're about to do the breakdown.
Okay.
And I am going to say one word.
Okay.
And you're going to say the first thing that comes to mind.
Yes.
It could be a sound. It could be a phrase. Whatever.
Okay.
All right. The first word, Baltimore.
Why did I think dirty, like, right away? Like, I'm sorry, but I don't know why that even came to my, okay.
Look, nothing's more dirty than Philadelphia. Okay. Fat girls.
Beautiful.
Ally.
Ew.
Big bellies.
Yummy.
Sex.
Yes.
Black love.
I don't know.
Black men.
I really don't know.
And last one, revolution.
Won't be televised.
Come on now. Alanah, this is good. If you could tell everyone where they can find you on the internet, on social media, if they want to book you, let everybody know. Plug.
Plug is, you can find me at AlanahNichole.com. That's ALANAHNICHOLE.com. Or Alanah has entered the chat.com, and that's the same name on Instagram. Alanah says on Twitter. You can find me at my house, but, I might be fucking, so knock first.
Love it. I will link all of that in the show notes, guys, so be sure to follow. You can keep up with her antics. She be dropping fire on her page and on her Twitter, so go ahead and follow.
Thanks, Boonie.
Thank you so much. All right, guys, I want to thank Alanah Nichole for coming on the podcast. I told you it was good. She is dope. Be sure to follow her because she gonna gather you up sometimes. And that's what we need in a nice, responsible, and ratchet friend, all right? And if you enjoyed this episode, I encourage you to listen and subscribe to the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, SoundCloud, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, or any app that you listen to your podcast on. Don't forget to leave those reviews too. We need 6 more, guys. 6 more to hit 100 5-star reviews for this season. You might just hear your review on the next episode. Follow us on all social media. Share the episode with those you love, those you don't love, those you fucking hate. I don't make these pretty images for nothing, okay? Have a dope-ass week. Stay healthy, safe, and sane. Thank you for listening. And remember, the ratchet in me always honors the ratchet in you. Home I stay. Until next time.